Hello, can you hear me? Good morning.
Yes, dear son, can hear.
Good.
Good morning. How are you?
Great, thank you.
Are all of you in the same room, dear son?
No, myself and Siddiqui-san are, we're just sitting on our seats actually.
Okay.
How about you?
We are at a meeting room in our
Meeting
company.
rooms, okay.
Yeah. So all of us are sitting together.
So who is the host? I request you to kindly, check the audio and videos.
Yeah. Pritish is just joining. He's there in the same room, but he's joining.
No, I'm talking about the technical team from NATO
Okay.
New Delhi. Hello.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Hi. What's your good name?
Sir, it is Vivek Prakash.
Vivek ji. So Vivek, from the attendees, Vinit-san, if you check who more we can promote to the panel. Genju Hattori is there. Please promote him to the panel, please, from the NIDO side. Vivek ji.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Vivek ji, if you can also promote Anu Pradiksha Ranjan
Sure, sir.
and Pritish. Pritish, you just joined, right? I just joined, yes.
Yeah, done it, sir.
Yes.
Good morning, everyone. This is Pratik Parasha here from the tech team. I'd request all the panelists to kindly put on your videos, please, so that we can quickly have a tech check done. Mr. Pratisha, I would request if you could unmute yourself and kindly check your audio quality.
Hi, am I audible?
Yeah, very much, sir. Thank you.
And is my
Your
video?
video is absolutely fine. I would request if you can please stick to that position. Genju Hattori, sir, if you could please unmute yourself and check your audio quality for today.
Okay. Good morning. Good morning, NRI team and tech team.
Thank you. It's good. Anu Pradiksha Rajan, sir, if you could please unmute yourself and check your audio quality. Your video
Hello.
sounds fine. Please come again.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, you are very much audible now.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am, you are very much audible now. Thank you. Vineet, sir, I believe you've already, since we've already seen you spoke, so your audio is all fine. Your video quality is good too. For others,
Yeah.
Masafumi
But
Senda,
if
sir,
it's okay, I just want to check my presentation.
yeah, I'm coming to that,
Just
sir.
for 1 minute.
Sure, if you could please share your screen.
Hello, Pratik?
Yes, sir, if you could please share your screen.
Yeah, sure. I'll just share my screen. Yes. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen, sir.
I hope the full screen is still visible. Can you show me?
Yeah, it's on full screen only, sir.
Okay. All right. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Masafumi Senda, sir, if you could please put on your video and unmute yourself. So if you
Yes,
could please check your
hello.
audio quality. Yeah.
Can you hear my voice?
Yes, loud and clear, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Did sir, we go live at 11?
I forgot to say, but I will when I make opening remarks, I will use some PowerPoint slides. So I will control by myself. So just I'd like to let you know.
You want to share the screen for the opening remarks?
Yes.
Sure. So if you could just share your presentation right away, we'll check your sharing rights and presentation quality.
Do I need to share presentation with you?
No, you
So
just
not with
check.
us, sir. You can just share your screen.
Yes. So I will use sharing function and do it by myself. So don't worry about it.
No, you can
Right,
check
but please
now.
do
You
it.
can
Yeah,
try.
you can check it now. Yeah.
Okay. I think I did it 20 minutes before, so I think I can. It works. So I think
Yes,
my slides are on screen.
yes.
Yeah,
Can you
looks
Okay.
see
fine.
the slides?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, just 4 slides. Thank you. So I will stop the sharing.
AM Siddiqui, sir, if you could please put on your video and unmute yourself as well.
Yes, sir. Good morning, everybody. My voice is clear?
Yes, sir, absolutely clear. If you could just adjust the flap a little more so that we can see more of your head space.
Is it okay?
Looks fine now, sir. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Can you promote Anshika?
Sure.
Anshika Jetli.
Hello, Pratish sir. Good morning.
Yes,
Thank
sir, I've done it.
Good morning, Siddiqui sir.
Anshika Jetli, madam, if you, yeah, she's joined.
Arun, have you joined?
Ma'am, if you can please put on your video and unmute yourself and check your audio and video quality. Can you please unmute yourself, madam? We are not able to hear you out.
So Pratik, actually, Anshika will not be speaking. She will
Okay.
be sharing the presentations of some of the panelists.
All right. So, ma'am, would you like to share it now and check your sharing rights and quality? Yeah.
Just sharing, 1 minute.
Yeah, it goes onto the full screen now. Works fine.
Done. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Pratish, Shravan is in the panel, I guess.
Raman is in the panel, yes.
We can promote him. Keep an eye on the attendees, Pratish, and whoever you think should be promoted to the panel, please request the team.
Okay.
Tarun is also there. You can promote him, Tarun, in the panel.
Yes, sir, I have did it.
NRI team, how about these people in the attendees? Piyush, Pranjal, Rama, Saurav, Shravan. Anybody to be promoted? You may request.
Yeah, there is an as of now, no.
Also, I'd request all the panelists, if there's any video that needs to be played inside a PPT, I'd request you to kindly share it with there's a checkbox that comes for optimizing the video clip. So please check that. While clicking on the share option, when you click on the PPT, there's also an option that says share sound and optimize for video quality. So please check those options so that once you share the video, it does not have any lag.
Yeah, Pratik, I think we don't have any video.
All right.
Shravan is promoted, right?
I can see Mr. Room attendees.
Pratik, can you promote Shravan?
Yeah, sir, I have sent the request, but he is not accepting.
Mr. Shravan, sir, I would request, we have promoted you as a panelist. Kindly accept the request to join in as a panelist. He's joining in now.
Yeah, Pratik, some of these speakers might join maybe post 11. If then how we can communicate with you to promote them?
I have shared the number with Tarun. Tarun has the number of Pratik, and he will keep an eye. And whosoever you think that needs to be promoted, kindly prompt Pratik over the WhatsApp, or you can call him.
Okay, there is.
Mr. Shravan has left the panel only.
Okay, just.
Vivek, I think you may please put on the opening slide
Yeah, sure, sir.
and pin it to the screen. We will be going live in 6 minutes.
Thank you.
Shravan has not joined in as a panel.
Promoted him.
He is in the attendees.
Yeah. Mr. Shravan, I would request if you can please join in as a panelist. We are sending you a request.
Yes, he is in the panel.
I request Mr. Shravan to kindly put on your video and unmute yourself as well.
Very good morning, everyone.
Your audio is fine, but at my end, I cannot see your video somehow.
Yeah, neither can I. 1 second. Can you see now? Yeah.
Yes, so we can see now.
Wonderful.
Kindly adjust your flap a little more so that we can see less of your head space. There's too much of head space.
Mhm.
So do I need to wait for panelists to come in?
So if we can see a closer view of you, Shravan sir.
We'll start at
There's too
11
much of head
because
space.
time is fixed.
Okay.
They
Yeah, it
might
is better
join
now.
in between also.
Okay.
Is that better?
Yeah, that is better, sir. Audio is also fine. Are you having anything to share as a presentation or anything?
Yes.
Would you like to check it now?
Yep.
Prateek, can you also
Yes, sir.
include Pulkit Khurana in the
Sure.
panel?
Done, sir.
We can check his audio and video quality.
Sure. Shravan sir, it looks fine. I think you can unshare. Mr. Pulkit Khurana, sir, I have promoted you as a panelist. Kindly join the panel by clicking on accepting the request. He has declined to be promoted as a panelist. Sir, I'm sending it to you again. Please accept it. Yeah. Pulkit Khurana, sir, can you please put on your video and audio as well? Yeah.
Yeah.
If you could please check your audio quality quick.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Works.
Prateek, Mr. Tarun Davda has also
Yeah.
joined.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. Hey,
Hello,
hi,
sir.
am I audible?
Yeah, you're very much audible, sir. Your video is also fine.
Hi, everyone. How are you?
Thank you. Anyone else to be promoted, sir? Pratish, sir?
Actually, if you can promote my colleague Shivatmika, she's joined as well, and she'll be sharing the slides as we speak. So it would be helpful if you can just promote her as well.
Sure. Done that too.
Shivatmika, are you on?
Yes, I am on. Yeah.
And she
Shivatmika,
will
I'd
be.
request if you can share your screen and check it out if it is working.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly. I was
sure,
just going to
sure. I
suggest
will
that.
do that.
I'd request it to be quick because we will be going live in like next 2 minutes. Yeah, thank you, ma'am. If you can put that on full screen mode.
Yeah, I think it's good.
All right, thank you.
So, guys, we aren't planning to present too many slides. I think, given the time constraint, we thought we'll maybe just do a very quick intro and then maybe cover a couple of slides just talking about how we see the India venture opportunity.
Yeah, Tarun. Thank you very much. And maybe we can cover a few more things in the questions during panel.
Yeah, that's fine. Absolutely.
We'll go live in a minute. I'll give a countdown of 3, 2, 1 before we go live. So for the panelist getting on with the opening remark, I request you to kindly follow the countdown before we go live.
So, Pritish, 2 more panelists, Surjit and Shaji, they are yet to join.
Yes, Dheeraj sir, we are connecting with them.
Yes. So you may prompt Prateek
Yes.
over the phone and he will help you out.
Dheeraj sir, we can go live now. Giving the countdown now. We can go live in 3, 2, 1, and we are live now.
Good morning, everyone. I am Pritesh Singh, and it's my pleasure to welcome you all to today's exclusive webinar on India's startup ecosystem. origins, growth, and global investment influence. India has emerged as one of the fastest growing startup hubs in the world, driven by government initiatives, sectoral and grassroots level innovation, and increasing foreign investments. We are delighted to have a distinguished panel of experts and thought leaders joining us to discuss how India's vibrant startup ecosystem is shaping the future of innovation and how Japanese investors and corporates can leverage this growth. I would like to invite Masafumi Senda, who is the Chief Representative of NEDO in India, to open the forum. Senda-san.
Yes. Thank you, Anna. Can I, so am I audible?
Yes,
And can you see
Senda-san,
my
you are
slides?
audible and your presentation is also visible. Please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you so much. So, distinguished speakers and panelists, I am Masafumi Senda, Chief Representative of NEDO New Delhi office. I am happy to make opening remarks. India startup ecosystem, origin, growth, and global investment influence with support of NRI. At the outset, I would like to briefly introduce NEDO. NEDO stands for New Energy and Industrial Technology Development Organization. NEDO is a government agency under the Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, Government of Japan. The objective of NEDO is to research, development, and demonstration of new technologies with the aim of improving Japan's global competitiveness and addressing decarbonization in the world. NEDO New Delhi office, our office, covers South Asia and Middle East. And here are core technology that NEDO covers for your reference. In India, NEDO has implemented 13 demonstration projects in the field of decarbonization, such as smart grid, solar power generation with microgrid system, energy storage, green telecom towers, green hospitals, and energy efficiency in steel and cement sector. At present, as you can see with marks, Nissin Electric, with the support of NEDO, has been preparing a technological demonstration of micro substation for electrification using transformer for large capacity instruments. Moreover, we have been supporting, in addition to an already implemented demonstration projects, feasibility study for ammonia co-firing at existing coal-fired power plants, hydrogen technology to decarbonize an automobile industry, a biogas project, and waste-to-energy project. In addition to these, NEDO has actively supporting the startup support for Japanese startup in India. In this connection, NEDO organized a visit of Japanese deep tech startup companies to IIT Delhi from last June. The purpose of this visit was India-Japan startup collaboration between Japanese startup companies and Indian stakeholders, including academia, research institute, and startups. NEDO has also organized an event of Indian drone startups in June 2023 to Japan and explore joint collaboration with Japanese startups, test fields, and drone schools. This fiscal year, we commissioned NRI to conduct a survey of India's startup ecosystem. We would like to discuss the outcome of the report with the participation of guest speakers. Lastly, as you can see on the screen, let me inform that World Expo 2025 will start in Osaka in Japan next month. NEDO-supported technology will be on the full display there. In addition, on September 17th and 18th, NEDO, METI, and JETRO are hosting Global Startup Expo 2025. It is an international hub event for investors and entrepreneurs from around the world. that showcases startup working with solve problems. I'd like all of you to try out the latest technology and stop by NEDO's events. Once again, I extended a warm welcome to our distinguished speakers for joining us despite busy schedule. We are hopeful that today's discussion will deepen our knowledge about India's startup ecosystem. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Senda-san, for opening the forum and also talking about a brief overview of NEDO and its activities in India, more on demonstration projects and also the events which NEDO has been organizing, and you requested all of us to participate. So thank you very much for that. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Vineet Jain, who is partner at NRI India, to present his views on the Indian startup ecosystem. The report, which we did as part of the engagement, as Senda-san mentioned. So let's hear out from Vineet.
Thanks, Pritish. Good morning to all, and konnichiwa to my friends joining from Japan. I'm told that we have a very heterogeneous audience here today, with veterans deeply entrenched in the Indian startup ecosystem, as well as global investors who are just beginning to explore the same. And I will try my best to balance the expectations from both these sides. First, let me give you an overview of the Indian startup ecosystem with focus on its origins and its founders. The number of startups in India has grown manifold in the past few years. It currently stands at about 160,000 startups, which is a 5x jump since 2020. The deal count and the funding amount have also shown consistent growth. Upon analyzing the background of startup founders of 278 odd unicorns, we find that 75% of the unicorn founders have a BTech degree, with IITs obviously leading. And many unicorn founders also hail from top B schools, highlighting the tech business synergy. However, interestingly, more than 50% of the unicorn founders are also non-IIT graduates, which highlights the growing role of diverse educational backgrounds supported by a very active incubator and accelerator ecosystem in India. If we analyze the experiences of the founders, we see that sectors such as EdTech attract young founders, whereas the deep tech sectors like defense, space, biotech need more experienced founders due to the high capital and technical complexity. Moving on now to the key drivers that have accelerated the startup ecosystem in India. And first, talking about the government's role. DPIIT has identified three key pillars for startup acceleration in India. One, simplification of the compliances and handholding. Second, funding support and incentives. And third, industry-academia partnership and incubation. The Indian government has rolled out various financial assistance schemes, including tax exemptions, has set up innovation labs and mentorship programs to support startups. Prominent among them are the Fund of Funds, which has committed about 74 billion rupees to alternate investment funds, and the abolition of the angel tax, which has also boosted the investor confidence. Startups have also started playing a crucial role in policy advocacy by participating in committees, roundtables, and research papers. Obviously, challenges still remain, such as licensing, registration, IP protection, and data compliances. And all the ecosystem stakeholders need to come together to find solution to these issues. Now let us take a look at the regional hubs supporting the startup ecosystem in India. Bengaluru, Delhi, Mumbai have emerged as the prominent hubs, and combined with Pune, Chennai, and Hyderabad, the 6 major startup hubs have seen over 95% of funding in the last decade, which is primarily driven by the lifestyle expectation of founders and of the teams and the availability of local talent. But interestingly, many more such startup hubs have started emerging on the horizon, such as Ahmedabad, Jaipur, Kolkata, with supportive policies from the government and good IT infrastructure. Now, zooming in to the investor and the incubator ecosystem, angel investors lead the ecosystem with 58% of the deals, focusing on pre-seed and a little risky ideas with expectations of high returns. On the other hand, VCs and PE firms have been investing in validated startups, providing larger growth funding. Later in the panel, we will also hear perspectives of VC investing from Mr. Tarun Dabda of Z47, which is a leading venture capital firm in India. Although Indian investors dominate in terms of the number of deals, global investors, particularly from the US, play a major role in overall funding, contributing to about 47% of the deals by count and 87% of the total funding by value. India has also developed a good system of incubators, particularly in the non-metro cities. More than 50% of the 1,000 plus incubators are based out of the non-metro cities. Also, incubators have played a major role in funding deep tech startups, addressing the gap left by other mainstream investors. Here is a map of the major startup hubs and the incubator network. We also have representatives from T-Hub later in the panel today. Now, if we compare the university incubation programs across US and India, we see that US has a far mature ecosystem with university seed funds, structured mentorship programs, and over 3,000 maker spaces and prototyping labs, while also providing IP and legal assistance. In the panel later today, we will hear from Mr. Shaji of IIT Bombay Sign, which is one of the leading university incubators in India. Japanese investors have also been active in the Indian startup ecosystem and are known for their patient capital focused on long-term growth and asset financing, particularly in the automotive affiliated industries, which is a very, very important funding instrument for freeing up equity for further expansion. Now, shifting gears, I would like to now present some interesting trends in the deep tech startup space, and sustainability being the buzzword in the investor community. Let me first start with climate tech. Overall investment in terms of deal volume and the median deal size have seen a rapid rise post-COVID because of increased participation of investors, particularly in sustainable mobility sector over the past 3 years. Most investments continue to take place in early stages with less than $5 million USD funding due to the increased number of technological innovations coming up in India. Startups related to electric mobility dominate high ticket size deals. Sustainable mobility, represented by EV OEMs, battery swapping, and charging infrastructure providers, have seen maximum traction. In fact, later in the panel discussion, we will be hearing perspectives from 2 very promising startups from the sustainable mobility domain. We also see, besides sustainable mobility, climate smart agriculture, dominated by precision agriculture and organic farming, has also seen good traction in terms of growth stage funding, as you can see in the orange bars towards the right graph. For our Japanese audience, we have also summarized some prominent startups in the sustainable mobility ecosystem. It is interesting to note that many of these startups are now foraying into the global markets like Europe, Latin America, Southeast Asia, and the Middle East, following the path of traditional automotive industry players. Startups present across the sustainable mobility ecosystem, from upstream to downstream, covering the entire value chain, which shows the maturity of this sector in India. We have EV OEMs like Ola and Ather on the right, supported by charging infrastructure players like ChargeZone and Static, and battery swapping players like BatterySmart. We also have players operating in shared mobility and public transportation who are helping drive the EV penetration in India. In climate smart agriculture, there are interesting startups like Ecozen, which offers solar-powered cold storage solutions, which is now targeting Africa due to non-reliable power and support from impact investors for this region. We also have Fasal, which is an IoT-based precision farming startup, now eyeing the Southeast Asia market, which has cultivation of high-value crops like palm, coffee, and pepper, and which has need for such solutions. Most of the agri-tech startups in India are present in 2 parts of the value chain. One is farm management, and the second is storage and logistics, which targets crop production, land use patterns, food wastage. And these startups are trying to solve the unique and diverse problems that are presented by the Indian agriculture value chain. Now, moving on to health tech. Indian health tech segment has seen high traction post-COVID, particularly in curative healthcare, comprising of e-pharmacies, e-diagnostics, and telemedicine. Also, fitness and wellness is in preventive care is also growing rapidly. However, one of the challenges faced in this industry is that only a small fraction of health tech startups in India secure late-stage funding as the deal size increases sharply in advanced stages. E-pharmacies face regulatory hurdles, limiting their global expansion prospects. However, there are some startups like Practo which have been able to expand to over 20 countries with their unique platform models. Startups in health and wellness target US very often because US is the biggest market for such services. For instance, Healthify.me has expanded to the US due to its high outcomes to cost ratio. Moving on to the defense sector, India was once the largest importer of defense equipment and supplies, but now it is on the path to reducing imports through its Make in India initiative, and in fact emerging as a potential exporter of defense equipment. Startups are playing an important role in this transformation. The government has implemented many policy reforms, such as the IDEX scheme and the defense R&D policy, to open up the defense sector to private players' participation. Indian defense startup ecosystem has experienced significant funding growth, particularly since 2020, which is driven by such progressive government reforms and initiatives. Most of the startups in this space are currently having contracts with Indian government entities and also armed forces, as you can see on the right of the slide. Some of the key solutions being offered are UAVs, drones, and vigilance systems. Some interesting startups like Tombow Imaging have also expanded to international customers, including the likes of NATO and Mossad Israel, which is a significant milestone by any Indian startup. Moving on to the sunshine sector of space tech. Indian space tech sector has made a mark on the world recently, achieving many major milestones such as the Mangalyaan, the Chandrayaan, and while so far this sector was largely dominated by government entities like ISRO, it is now seeing a surge in private players due to new collaboration opportunities which have been enabled by the In-Space program of the Department of Space. India is in fact now on a path to reduce its space budget, and instead it's encouraging private sector involvement, creating major opportunities in upstream domains such as launch vehicles and downstream domains of communication and Earth observation. Since 2020 particularly, space tech funding has seen exponential growth with most of the startups in seed and Series A rounds. The government has also approved a $120 million VC fund for the sector under In-Space to promote startups in this area. And I will close my presentation with some images of the phenomenal work done by the Indian space tech startup, a moment to be proud for all Indians. I look forward to hearing the perspectives from our elite panelists up ahead. Thank you for your patient hearing.
Thank you very much, Vineet, for your presentation and talking about mainly climate tech, health tech, defense, and space. You provided the overview, key players, and innovative offerings which have not made a mark only in India, but also some of the startups have expanded globally. So thank you very much. Moving on, now I would like to invite Mr. Tarun Davda, who is the Managing Director at G47, to present his views from an investor's perspective. Tarun is a well-known entrepreneur who turned VC. He has built and led 2 internet businesses in India with over a decade of experience in the trenches. He enjoys partnering with promising entrepreneurs and using his experience to help them nurture, grow, and flourish their businesses. Thank you very much, Tarun, for joining. Please make the presentation.
Great. Thank you so much, Pritesh. Appreciate it, and good to meet all of you today. Pritesh, just a quick housekeeping item. Should I plan for about 7-8 minutes, or is that fine in terms of the presentation?
Yeah, if you can close within 8 minutes, that's good to go.
Perfect. Okay. All right, so I'll start with a quick introduction because I don't know if everybody, on the call would know us. The team intro slide, not the team intro slide, Shiva, the introduction slide, which talks about Z47. So just while Shiva is opening the slide, we're an early stage VC focused in India. We've now been operating in India for the last 17 years. We invest across multiple sectors, starting with fintech. We invest in sustainability and EVs. We've also invested in consumer, in B2B and software. And increasingly now are finding ourselves investing in more deep tech and AI-led opportunities. So we'll cover some of those also as we speak. The stage at which we play is generally at the earliest stages. So think of us as sort of Series A as our sweet spot. Typically a 3 to 5 million entry check. We like to, typically start by, getting about 15 to 20% ownership in the companies that we like, and then obviously have the capability to double down on the companies that are working. Sometimes we also do seed, sometimes we also do Series B. So that's generally the range that we play, which is seed to Series B. I think we've already covered the sectors. We have offices in Bombay, Delhi, and Bangalore. Like I mentioned, we're sort of investing now for the last 17 years. So I've had our share of learnings on the ecosystem. I think the presentation went away, Shiva. Shiva, can you share the slide deck? Apologies. Are you all able to see the slides? It's not visible for me. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's come back. Sorry, apologies for that. So that's about us. I will share, I think, the best way to know a VC firm and what we do is to understand the kind of companies that we have partnered with. So the next slide will tell you about some of the companies that we are investors in. I think many of these logos would be familiar to most of you. For those who are still sort of new to the India market, Razorpay on the top left is India's largest digital payments company. It's the index for India e-commerce. We were fortunate to seed this business. It's now valued at about 7 billion. We were the first investors in Ola Electric, which is India's largest EV business, with about 25% market share of all EVs sold in the country. This company is now public. Off Business is India's largest B2B platform, along with the supply chain financing built into it. Again, we were fortunate to seed this company. Ola, as you probably know, is India's largest ride-hailing business. And then there's a few others, right? I won't cover all of them, but as you'll see is, across sectors, we've been fortunate to partner with some of the highest quality entrepreneurs that are building sort of, category defining businesses. So that's in a nutshell about us. I will switch now to talking to you about, our views on the India opportunity and how it's developed. I think, a lot of investors that I talk to, including several Japanese investors that I've met in the last few years, one question keeps coming up, which is, hey, what really changed in India post-COVID, right? Why is there, such high growth that several companies are seeing across sectors? And is this sustainable? Is this another flash in the pan? India has had some false starts in the past, and market hasn't developed as quickly as many of us thought it would. And so the question keeps coming as that, is this growth sustainable, right? Is it here to stay, and is this now the new normal? And as we thought more deeply about that question, I think we ended up sort of reaching the answer that this is the new normal. And the reason for that is that there are several sort of really core fundamental building blocks that were being put in place well before COVID happened, that have actually allowed these companies to take advantage of those building blocks, and they are now rapidly scaling digitally on those rails, right? So prior to 2016, I'm referring to the top timeline part of the chart. Prior to 2016, I'm guessing many of you would be aware of Aadhaar. Aadhaar is India's most ambitious digital ID project. So every single of the 1.4 billion Indians have a unique ID linked to their biometrics, linked to their mobile number and bank account. It's literally the first of its kind being done anywhere in the world at this scale. On top of that, the government built UPI, which is a real-time, frictionless, free of cost interbank payment system, where anyone in the country can transfer money to anyone else in the country as low as 1 cent or 1 rupee, free of cost, all by just knowing your mobile number. I don't need to know the person's bank account. I don't know which bank they transact with. Just by knowing their mobile number, I can transfer money to them real time. Then in 2016, we had Jio. Jio is India's largest telco. It crashed data costs by more than 90%. We had TikTok launch around the same time in India, which got tens of millions of Indians hooked on to consuming content on their mobile phones for hours at a day. And then finally, demonetization happened, right, which put a lot of the large currency notes out of circulation. Now, while that was a mixed move politically and economically, as far as it relates to the digital economy, it was the best thing to have happened. Because again, hundreds of millions of Indians, were literally forced to adopt digital payments overnight. And then we had GST in 2017, which brought the whole country under single tax code, and multiple other things happened after that. And then finally, COVID happened, right, which kind of brought this all together. And literally, if you put all these changes together, you will understand why the digital economy really took off post-COVID. So if you look at the bottom left, you'll see that the life of the average Indian prior to all these, no identity, no KYC, cash transfer, lots of leakage for those who need subsidies, limited access to the internet, not part of the formal economy, not online, not consuming products and services, right? And you fast forward by these 4 or 5 years, and now essentially you have 1.5 billion Indians that all have a unique digital identity. They all are online. They all are consuming products and services actively, digitally. They all are part of the formal digital payments ecosystem because everybody's on UPI, right from a street vendor to a vegetable stall owner. All these guys are accepting and making digital payments. Anyone who's on subsidies, there is a direct benefits transfer. So there's almost zero leakage and all the money is going to the people that, eventually deserve it. And then, like I said, because of Jio today, more than 80% of Indians actually have access to very cheap, high-speed data internet, right? And so when you put all this together, actually, this is the fundamental reason why we believe that this change is here to stay. And it's not a flash in the pan. We are seeing the impact of this across multiple sectors, whether it's fintech and financial services, whether it's consumer tech, whether it's EVs and battery technology, whether it is just adoption of other online services. The same theme is just playing out. Whether it's B2B, India is obviously we have 60 million micro and small businesses. All of these businesses have now adopted technology, right? So I think it's a very, very exciting time. And now if you layer in the whole government's top-down push on manufacturing and the whole China Plus One, realignment of supply chains post-COVID, you will actually find that a lot of global opportunities are also opening up to our startups. So overall, I think, very, very exciting time to be in India. All of us have been, for many of us on this call, we've been doing this now for the last 15 years. I think for the first time ever, we feel that our markets have truly opened up, have truly deepened, and it's giving us a very strong foundation for the startups of the future to scale rapidly. And by the way, that's also visible in the data in terms of IPOs, right? There was a time where companies would take 8 years, 10 years to get to any meaningful scale, and yet they took more time to get to IPO scale. Today, we are routinely seeing that from the time of first funding or first round of funding, companies can get to hundreds of millions of dollars of top line within 5, 6, 7, 8 years of financing and get, that's at IPO scale. And so it also shows up in the data. If you see the first cohort of companies that went public, it took about 11 to 12 years for those companies to go public from founding to IPO. Today, the best companies are taking 7 to 8 years from founding to IPO. So the data is out there, timelines are crunched, companies are taking lesser time to get to that IPO scale, and that growth is happening much more capital efficiently because the fabric of the market has changed. What used to be a push market is now becoming a pull market where multiple consumers are actively consuming these products and services online. Yeah. Now, what does this all mean in terms of the opportunity for investors? Shall I just move to the next slide? So this is our view of what India digital value creation will look like. So if you see the chart on the right, India today is broadly a $4 trillion GDP economy, 1:1 market cap to GDP. So, our market cap is about 4.5 trillion today. 5% of that market cap is tech-led or digital-first companies. So do the math, that's about $200 to $300 billion of total tech market cap that is created today. So if you take the MakeMyTrips, the Zomatos, the Swiggies, the Ola Electrics, and all the listed tech companies that and unlisted sort of real unicorns, that number is about 200 to 300 billion, right? Now, fast forward over the next decade, we believe India will be a $10 to $12 trillion economy in the next decade, and economists sort of have that same projection. At that time, our bet is that 20 to 30% of the market cap will be digital. Now, if you just do the math, it's not rocket science. That's about $2 to $3 trillion of incremental tech market cap that is coming in the next decade. Now, why 20 to 30%? If you just go back and look at both US and China, US went through the similar digitization journey between 1995 and 2010. This is on the left, first chart on the left. They went from 1% of their market cap being digital to about 27% of the market cap being digital. As you know, today, that number is well north of 40, 45%, where the Magnificent Seven itself make up of 25, 30% of their market cap. China went through a similar journey between 2010 and 2020, where they went from mid-single digits to 20%, and that number is now closer to 25, 28%. So I think India will get there. And if you just do the math, given how early we are in terms of the overall Indian venture ecosystem and value capture, our belief is that while the incumbents will keep growing, so the Zomatos will become larger, the Info Edges will become larger, there will be a lot of value capture to new startups that are getting built today. And our view is that 60 to 70% of that value creation of 2 to 3 trillion will accrue towards venture. And so that's like whichever way you do the math, that's between $1 to $2 trillion of new tech market cap that is coming in the next decade, right? And this is honestly what is the most exciting thing about India today. And finally, obviously all this is great top down and to see the math. Bottoms up, the way it plays out. Shiva, if you can just pull up the top 17 companies. So these are the 17 most valuable venture-backed companies in India today. All these are real. 1/3 of these companies are already public. 2/3 of these companies are profitable. These are all companies worth at least $5 billion or more. On the right-hand side, you can see the logos of the top tier VCs that have invested in these companies early being defined as entered between seed to Series B. And what you'll find is that it's for a market as interesting and exciting as India, there's basically 4 or 5 VCs that consistently find themselves into the best companies, right? And we're happy. It's a marketing slide, but I thought it'll be helpful for people to see the top and most valuable companies in India today. We're fortunate that we have the highest market share amongst that, right? So with that, I'll pause. Happy to take any questions. I think I'm broadly on time, but if there's anything else, happy to cover that.
Thank you very much, Tarun, for providing the overview of your company, Marquee Investments, and also your views about the sustainable growth of startups. And the unique idea and unique viewpoint about the JAM, integration of Jan Dhan, Aadhaar, and mobile. So everybody in India has the bank accounts, which is linked with Aadhaar and mobile, which makes most of us part of the formal economy. Questions we will take in the end, and there are live questions which we can answer during the presentation as well as the panel discussion. So we are parking questions for now. Thank you very much. Now I would like to invite Sujit Jagirdar, who is the CIO at T-Hub, to share his viewpoint from the perspective of a leading government-supported incubator. Sujit is well known, and he's currently Chief Executive Officer at T-Hub, which is one of the largest innovation hubs for startups in the world. Sujit, thank you very much for joining. Please make a presentation, and I request you to take 6 to 8 minutes of your time. Thank you very much.
Very good morning to everyone. Pritesh, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, very clear. Please go ahead.
So let me see if I can share the presentation, and please let me know if it is visible.
Yeah, it's visible.
All right, good. All right, I'll talk about two things very briefly. One is about the entity that Pritesh mentioned, T-Hub, which is one of the world's largest incubator for startups based out of Hyderabad in India. And also a little bit about what's shaping the startup ecosystem. I'm glad that Vineet and Tarun have covered pretty well that subject. So I'm going to be very quick on that two aspects. I mean, the first aspect of the startup landscape in India. Please let me know if I'm able to, present this clearly in terms of the slides as I move forward. Are you able to see the next slide?
Yeah, it's clear. Yes.
Okay. All right. So, in summary, Vineet and Tarun mentioned about this. India is the third largest ecosystem for startups and 4 trillion in economy. But if you look at the pace of growth, right, either in terms of the funding that has been made available or the number of investors that have grown, and also incubators that have grown in the country. And you see the numbers there, right? They have been somewhere from 7x to 15x in terms of pace of growth. And there was this mention about the contribution of the federal government or the central government to support the startup ecosystem. Now, Make in India, Startup India, so Atmanirbhar Bharat related challenges, credit guarantee schemes, Mudra Yojana, all these in some way or the other have supported the startups or MSMEs. And the numbers are there for all of us to see in terms of the growth. I just wanted to call out one number. Post-COVID, from mid of COVID to say end of 2024, the number of unicorns that have grown has been close to about 70. That's a phenomenal number compared to we have today close to about 140 or so. Of course, the number there 116 is little dated, but 140 odd unicorns, 50% of them have really grown in the last 4 years or so. Now, as an ecosystem and an ecosystem enabler supporter, T-Hub has been playing big role, but I just take half a minute to talk about the ecosystem like T-Hub. And I know Shaji from IIT Mumbai is also here. Ecosystems play a very key role in providing, especially for startups, providing mentorship, technical expertise, or access to market and marketing insights. Of course, Investor Connect is another key role these ecosystems like ours play, providing prototyping facilities. Many times startups don't have access to prototypes. In that context, I want to mention about our sister concern called T-Works, which is right next door to T-Hub, which actually provides access to a large number of startups, doing prototypes or having access to prototypes. Most important role an incubator or an ecosystem player like ours do is also provide access to customers, whether it is corporate customers or government entities, to solve some of the critical problems that they are looking for, the kind of solutions they are looking for. Now, dipping down to T-Hub, we are the largest, like I mentioned earlier. Over the last decade or so, we have incubated close to 2,000 plus startups across multiple sectors. Now, over the years, we have also been engaged internationally. In fact, we have collaborations with countries like Israel, Japan, France, Australia, and these are entities in those geographies. We have also supported global startups. In fact, there's a lot of support we have been extending to Japanese corporates and Japanese startups. Similarly, there have been demo days by many entities, and I've just quoted a couple of them there. Innovate UK is a government arm of United Kingdom, while DDR&D is an Israeli entity in defense. So their startups came here, and one of the key reasons is access to a large market like India, and some kind of a soft landing has been enabled. Similarly, we run many market access programs and Maxme, Bisevo, or an Australia and Swedish startups which have actually had access here. We have taken them to the corporate customers here to help them with market access. Now, we work with many global corporates. Our startups in T-Hub are working with, and I've quoted some of the examples from Japan, Suzuki, Panasonic, Asian Corporation, or Denso. Some of them are in the auto sector, some of them are in the manufacturing sector or electronic goods. We've been working with them very closely. We have, engaged with global collaborators or partners like JICA and JETRO. Most of you who work with Japanese firms or with Japan as a geo would know these two entities. JICA has actually invested in our state, and they have taken up 2 floors, and we are working with them on some 5-year engagement. And it is going to kickstart very soon. Now, very quickly, what is T-Hub? That's the building. That's actual physical building. It's one of the India's largest cantilever structure building. The building itself is quite unique. It houses about close to 550 startups right in the building. And there are many centers of excellences that you see there. I don't want to get into individual ones, but a couple of them I'll call out. They are cutting across different countries like Sweden, Israel, France, etc. But 2 centers I want to call out. Math that you see there is one of the large AI ML Center of Excellence that has been set up with the help of Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. Almost 100 startups in deep tech work under the aegis of Math. Math is nothing but machine learning, artificial intelligence technology hub. The second one that I want to call out is Atal Incubation Center that you see at the right bottom. Is primarily focused on 5 sectors. This is again a collaboration between T-Hub and AIC, part of NITI Aayog arrangement. In EV mobility, semiconductors, in fact, sustainability, healthcare, and space tech. So we collaborate with the central or federal government under AIC to run these cohorts. Of course, there are many other entities present, but I'm hoping that some of you will visit the place and then we'll have an opportunity to actually engage deeper. Just some quick numbers. 2,000 plus startups that we have engaged, 600 plus corporates that we have been working with over the last 10 years. As I speak, there are about 40 concurrent innovation programs that are running that my team is managing here. Of course, we work with investors. Some of them are present here. We have helped startups raise close to $2+ billion worth of funding. Very important for us is engagement with academia. In fact, our board consists of academia, corporates, venture capitalists, as well as the government. So it makes T-Hub itself a very unique PPP model organization, that is public-private partnership model organization. Very quickly, in terms of the strength or the support that we provide to startups, I did cover some of them, but our focus is providing startups with curated programs that help them move from idea stage till they reach funding stage, the entire startup life cycle support that we do. We also engage with corporates, and I did quote some examples that provides market access and market validation for the startups. So there is a kind of a connect that we establish and co-manage those programs between startups and corporates. Of course, we have a program called T-Bridge. That's a global market access program that helps both startups in, say, for example, Japan want to come to India, or Indian startups want to go to Japan. The T-Bridge has various frameworks and approaches, that help them do that, provide that soft landing. Essentially, to promote entrepreneurs and to promote innovation is really the outcomes we kind of drive. Finally, in terms of the collaboration, I did mention about multiple corporates and multiple partner entities that we work with. There is a phenomenal opportunity to provide bilateral startup hubs. We look forward to that. Of course, shared focus areas, healthcare, agri-tech, manufacturing, green energy, these are all, and there could be more that could be opportunities to collaborate. Similarly, joint R&D, innovation, opportunities that exist. We are doing that with corporates, but we can expand with many more who are present here, who are interested. Likewise, investors that are interested from Japan to invest in Indian startups, we can enable. Of course, these are all potential opportunities. Finally, policies. I did briefly mention about the central government policies. There are also state government policies that back startups that want to grow. There are those opportunities that one can avail. In conclusion, India startup strength, Japanese focus, deep expertise in certain areas, sectors that I mentioned, and frameworks that enable partnerships would be kind of a win-win for both entities. So with that, I conclude by inviting partnerships, and we'll be happy to see how we can extend our arm to support. Thank you, and back to you.
Thank you very much, Sujit. It was really enlightening to see your T-Hub's effort in boosting the startup ecosystem in India, especially the impact what it is creating in terms of the number of startups and the corporates, the job creation, etc. So thank you very much for making the presentation. Now I would like to invite Mr. Shaji, who is the CEO at Sign IIT Bombay, which is one of the leading college incubators in India, to present his views from the perspective of academia-supported incubators. Mr. Shaji, please.
Yeah, Pritesh, thanks, Pritesh. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Am I audible and visible?
Yes, yes. Perfectly fine.
Thank you. Thank you. A very good morning to all of you. At the outset, I would like to thank NEDO and Nomura Institute for this opportunity to speak about role of incubators and accelerator in India's evolving landscape. Vineet, Tarun, and Sajit have already spoken about the vibrant Indian startup ecosystem. My presentation would be largely focusing on what Sign does and how Sign can engage with international partners and helping our startups and also for cross-border collaboration. Let me talk a bit about history about the incubator. The very first incubator was set up way back in 1950 in New York, wherein a kind of rundown manufacturing plant was converted into a kind of a business hub for SMEs and startups. Essentially, what they kind of provided was space and shared resources. And, over a period of time, it graduated, grew, and a lot of universities also kind of started having their own incubator setup, largely in terms of providing access to labs and infrastructure space, along with some kind of an handholding and mentoring. From an accelerator point of view, I mean, 2005, if I'm not mistaken, Y Combinator was set up, and it was set up in Silicon Valley. And since then, the accelerators have also kind of evolved and grown in terms of have established themselves as a kind of a important support for early stage startups with their own kind of business model in place, which has been validated and running successfully over a period of time. Sign as an incubator, which is the technology business incubator of IITB, was set up way back in 2004. At that point of time, as most of you must be aware, that the startup as such was kind of the ecosystem was not as well developed as today. Can you go back to kind of the earlier slide, please? Yeah, it was not kind of as developed as today, but nevertheless, this was a bold step by IIT Bombay to kind of set up one of the earliest incubators in India. Today, as both Vineet and Tarun has mentioned, India is the third largest. India has the third largest startup ecosystem in the world. We have close to kind of 1,000+ incubators in India. What essentially they provide is a controlled environment for early stage startups to set up their kind of grow at a very early stage. I mean, in terms of the controlled environment, both support is provided in terms of tangible and intangible benefits. So tangible benefits is the infrastructure facility, office space, and lab facilities that are provided to the startups. And while the intangibles are more in terms of mentoring, market access, expert intervention, and all those stuff. Yeah, next slide, please. So what do we do as Sign? Essentially, our core activity is incubation. We provide both physical and virtual incubation to our startups. These are either 3-year period or 5-year period, depending upon the requirements. So if you look at a healthcare startups, the requirement for incubation support is much more longer because of long gestation period, regulatory clearance, and all these things. And we also provide pre-incubation support. Essentially, what we do is enable the innovators to come in, test their idea, convert their idea into proof of concept. And if they are ready, then we take them to our incubation program. We do several kind of partnership programs with the corporates and government. We have our own accelerator program. We used to run an accelerator program with Intel Capital for a little more mature startups. Yeah. Next slide, please. So as an incubator, we kind of offer a full gamut of services to our startups. Essentially, what the overall objective of an incubator is to ensure that startups survive during the early phase so that they are able to overcome the value of debt. And how do we do that? I mean, as I mentioned, both tangible and intangible. So tangible infrastructure, we also provide access to funding both from the government and also from maybe from external sources. Just hold on. Yeah, from an impact point of view, Sign till now have supported 253 startups. More than 1,000 innovators have gone through our program. We currently have close to kind of 90 startups which have been incubated at Sign. Close to 100 startups have graduated. When I say graduated, they remain in the incubator for 3 to 5 years and take the benefit of all the support that is provided by the incubator during this period. 52 companies have folded up, 14 have merged. The most important thing is that for every rupee provided by Sign to our startups in terms of investment support by way of either by way of grant or investment, our startups have been able to raise external funding. In total, our startups have raised close to 1 billion external risk capital. Today, they are close to 3.5 billion in valuation. And more importantly, more than 10,000 jobs have been created by our startup. Next, please. These are some of the success stories which have emerged from Sign. Most of you must be aware of IdeaForce. I think Vineet talked about it when he was talking about the defense sector. IdeaForce is one of the first incubated companies to kind of go for an IPO after graduating and scaling up their business. ImmunoAct is a classic case where IP has been created within IIT Bombay, then the professor, the faculty in Mumbai innovator took it forward and kind of went through the clinical trial and now kind of commercially launched. Next slide, please. Yeah, these are some of kind of our current startups. So we are a kind of sector agnostic incubator. So we support startups across the spectrum, across technology spectrum, and also industry, kind of across industry. Next, please. Yeah, this gives a breakdown of companies which we have supported over the last 20 years. So, yeah, next. Sujit had mentioned about the importance of ecosystem for any incubator or accelerator. I mean, Sign is fortunate that we are kind of housed in IIT Bombay, which is one of the leading institutes. They have over 118 centers of excellence from where most of our kind of deal flow comes in across different sectors. In addition to that, from an external point of view, there we have kind of, I mean, close relationship with investors, corporates, mentors, international connects also. I'll be talking about more about international connects in the next slide. Next, please. Sign over the period of 20 years have developed kind of a strong relationship with few of our international partners. Some of them are JAXA, SwissNext, University of Toronto, and ITRI. There are multiple areas wherein we kind of collaborate more in terms of kind of allowing our startups to gain access to international market. That's one primary kind of ask from most of our startups. There are also kind of soft landing support. essentially kind of from a regulatory point of view or from an infrastructure point of view, if some of our startups have to kind of access international market, so in terms of providing infrastructure support by way of maybe office and maybe shared resources, if that is provided, most of our partners do provide that for our startups. Then there are opportunities for cross-border collaboration between startups and corporate. We have seen that in multiple startups, wherein kind of foreign enterprises have come and kind of work closely with our startups. We do also do exchange program, something which we have done with Swissmex. Essentially, what we do is that innovators from India and Switzerland come together and kind of undergo a workshop, 2 to 3 weeks workshop, wherein kind of, there are opportunities to explore potential collaboration between these innovators. Then we also do undertake entrepreneurship training, maybe for foreign students to come in. Essentially, this is done through IIT Bombay. Then obviously, kind of last and most important is the investor connect and engagement that we have with foreign investors. Yeah, next please. So these are some of the examples of our startups who have benefited from our foreign partners. Voltas Technology, they are into battery technology. They have developed kind of dendrite-free battery, lithium-ion battery, which is safe to operate in, and they had kind of an access to. Can you go back to the earlier slide? I think you have to. So Voltas Technology, so they had access to the high-end manufacturing facility and possible collaboration in Taiwanese market. Similarly, Inspacity also kind of was part of the International Space Tech Conference in Taiwan. We have similar kind of engagement with JAXA, which is also a Japanese kind of aerospace agency similar to ISRO. Next, please. This is basically the Academy Industry Exchange Program, Academy Industry Exchange Program that I talked about from Swissmex. Next, please. Some of the international connects, we do kind of do several exchange programs, visits. So recently, a team from IIT Bombay and SINE had visited the National Technology University of Singapore. Similarly, we also do kind of multiple kind of interactions with international incubators. And also with corporate, we had a recent engagement with the leadership team at Suzuki in Japan. Yeah, next. These are some of, being a leading technology institute, we do have kind of several delegations coming in from different government agencies. Like this delegation was there, Belgium. This keeps happening on a regular basis, and we try and leverage these kind of relationships for our startups. Benefit of our startups. Yeah, next please. What can we do with our international partners? Obviously, kind of with international investors, we can have special pitching session for our startups. Currently, as I mentioned, we have close to 90 startups which are incubated at SINE. We can do joint boot camps, both from a kind of Indian startups and international startups coming together, kind of, and also exploring possible collaboration. Mentoring session, cross-border by experts, that could be something that we want to kind of look at seriously, because some of our startups who have product, especially in the healthcare segment, and would like to kind of look at international market, could require real support from experts largely to kind of help them in regulatory clearance. And obviously joint events, visits, and knowledge sharing sessions can be conducted. That's it from my side. Thanks for the patience.
Thank you very much, Sajid, for your presentation and talking about the great work which the organization has been doing. Till now, we have been hearing about the views about the support ecosystem. And now we would like to move and invite the panelists who are creating the actual change on ground every day. First of all, to share his views will be Mr. Pulkit, who is a co-founder and CEO of Battery Smart, one of the key pillars of India's battery swapping ecosystem. And Pulkit does not need any introduction. So straight away, I would invite Pulkit to make his presentation. Pulkit, stage is yours.
Thank you. Konnichiwa. While the presentation is being pulled up, maybe I'll start with a brief introduction for the benefit of Japanese audience here. Watashi wa Pulkit toimasu. Watashi wa battery smart no CEO desu. Watashi tachi wa Indo de ichiban oki battery swapping network desu. Watashi tachi wa 40の都市1500の場所にいます。毎日12万の battery swap をしています。That's all the Japanese I've been able to learn so far. We are India's largest battery swapping network. Maybe next slide. India is one of the largest automobile markets in the world. There are around 300 million vehicles on the road. And the majority of them are two-wheelers and three-wheelers, almost 240 million. Now, all of these vehicles, as a country, we aspire for them to go electric. But there are a couple of challenges in that journey. EVs are expensive. If you are a commercial driver, it is hard to imagine wasting 3 to 4 hours just charging your vehicle, because that means loss of income. And the way our cities are structured, the real estate does not really allow for parking of such a large population of vehicles to be able to parallelly park or charge. This is where battery swapping comes into play. We allow users to be able to just buy the EV without battery. So that lowers their cost by 40 to 50%. It's a quick exchange of discharged batteries with charged ones that takes under 2 minutes to do. And thus it eliminates any form of range anxiety. And we operate a highly dense swapping network within every square kilometer of the cities that we operate in, which means there is no range anxiety. It is far more real estate efficient. A small shop can serve hundreds of EVs coming in and going out. And it is also a decentralized load on the grid, thus not really creating any infrastructural problems for the electricity grid per se. Next slide, please. We started 5 years ago. Today, we are present in 40 cities across 10 states of India. We are opening 5 to 6 cities every quarter now, and we expect to reach 100 city penetration very soon. Next, please. Currently, we serve more than 65,000 drivers on our platform. We do 125,000 swaps every day. This is done across 1,500 locations in the 40 cities where we are present. We are opening more than 100 cities every month right now. We power close to 4 million kilometers every day using these batteries on the network. We are one of the largest lithium-ion battery owners in India, almost half gigawatt hour. We are also one of the largest buyers of lithium-ion batteries in India as of now. Next, please. In the last 5 years, we have been fortunate to partner with various global investors, including Japanese investors like MUFG Bank and Panasonic. We also count Leapfrog Investments, Tiger Global, Bloom, EIF, British government, which is British International Investment, etc., as our shareholders. We have also been able to partner with various domestic as well as global funds who could finance batteries or assets on this platform. We have been able to deploy assets more than $100 million worth on the network, and we continue to deploy between $5 to $10 million of batteries every month on our network. Next, please. Specifically speaking about our Japanese partners who invested in the company last year, MUFG Bank and Panasonic, we are leveraging help from them on various fronts, where MUFG is helping us on the capital structuring for the company, both from a debt and equity perspective, helping us introduce to various strategic partners and industry leaders in electric mobility space. In future, we also plan to collaborate with them on tapping into green financing and various other asset financing avenues. While Panasonic, on the other end, brings technological expertise around battery reuse, battery recycling, and also supply chain expertise around batteries. We are not a manufacturing company ourselves. We partner with various battery manufacturers and OEMs in India. This is where we are leaning on Panasonic to help us identifying second life applications of batteries and battery energy storage solutions. Some of the areas where we are very keen to partner with various Japanese businesses as well as investment partners is to explore the strengths that they already have around battery supply chain, battery recycling, manufacturing of cells and batteries, and battery and energy storage solutions. Based on our understanding, we believe that a lot of Japanese conglomerates are much ahead in the technology curve compared to any other country right now in terms of understanding the reuse market and energy storage solution market for batteries. And this is one area which is a very bright spot in India. India plans to deploy more than 300 gigawatt hour of batteries in the energy storage solutions in the next 5 years itself. We being one of the largest owners of second life batteries, with entire life history of those batteries stored over the cloud, where we track battery performance every 15 seconds for all the 200,000 battery packs which are in circulation right now. We believe we can be great partners for such companies to go to market and collaborate on developing second use batteries for energy storage solutions. We are also seeking technology collaboration with various Japanese business houses on how to expand into Southeast Asia and Africa, where they might already have some presence. We are also working with a couple of Japanese OEMs on being their go-to-market partner for launching electric two-wheelers and three-wheelers with battery swapping as a solution. We sit on 65 million sessions of battery charging data and discharging data across various chemistries and cell types today. This is one of the most valuable data sets that can be helpful for predicting the state of health and deterioration curves of batteries in the world. And we plan to leverage those learnings and those algorithms to work closely with companies who are associated in similar lines of business. So these are some of the areas where we believe we can have a strong collaboration with some of the Japanese business houses. Thank you. I think I would save the 8-minute slot given we are already.
Thank you very much, Pulkit. And thank you very much making exceptional presentation. With this, moving on, I would like to invite Shravan. Shravan is CEO of iGo, a leading startup OEM building autonomous mini transit vehicles. Shravan, can you make the presentation?
Sure. Thanks, Pritesh. Hope everyone is having a lovely day. And thank you, NRI team, for another wonderful session. It's been wonderfully insightful and great to hear the panel speak. And quickly jumping on, iGo is a Bangalore-based deep tech smart mobility startup. We are on a mission to provide dignified mobility, right? So when we talk about sustainable mobility, of course, there is a need for that. But what we are trying to do is way beyond, right? Beyond sustainability, we have to also find a safe and smart way to move. Right? When we talk about dignified mobility, of course, we cannot ignore the public mobility part of it. And that's where our journey began almost a decade back. We were building these ultra light personal rapid transport solutions that are much cheaper, much faster, and to build, and much lightweight. Right? So this was going well, but of course, pandemic has changed all our plans. So then we decided to pivot to personal mobility. But we took the chance, understand the market, right? If you look at the developed world in terms of personal mobility, it's completely reliant on four-wheelers, right? You don't see much of two-wheelers and three-wheelers kind of solutions. So just imagine what if India, in its aspiration to become a developed world, okay, also takes such a path. And we see millions of four-wheelers, bulky vehicles, doesn't matter they are petrol or electric. Just imagine the chaos in our urban limited infrastructure. So that's what we are trying to solve. Yeah. How do we solve this? It's very simple. Just, upgrade, all the things that we aspire for in a four-wheeler, that is safety, comfort, security for our family, a little bit more capacity to take our goods. So all the things, if we package in not just small carbon footprint, but actually small road footprint, that is when true sustainability comes into play, right? So beyond carbon emissions, we have to reduce our energy footprint, reduce our traffic footprint. So that's how we go about, right? So I said simple, not easy, but how do we go about? So for that, we need to fundamentally rethink from first principles. So we need to bring the best elements of a two-wheeler, that is the agility, and the best element of a three-wheeler, the functional stability and higher capacity. So if we manage to bring both of these together, only then our dream is possible. And that's exactly what we did. And our patented proprietary twin-wheeled trike technology, it's unlike any others. The pioneering Japanese trikes are not new, right? So they've been there for like 3-4 decades. But being an electric first company, right? So we have developed it in a different way so that it is much more cost effective, much more energy efficient, not using gyroscopes and all that drain a lot of battery, and much more compact, right? And this compactness is the main important factor. It's our superpower. It's the only trike in the world that you can legally ride with a motorcycle license and park it in a two-wheeler parking space, which is very, very important when it comes to our congested infrastructure, right? So while that is our core patent, there are several other things that we have been working on technology-wise. Ours is a twin-wheeled, first of its kind, small vehicle with multi-wheel drive, and most importantly, our modular architecture, right? So not only that, we can build a couple of brands ourselves, we can enable hundreds of brands to build on our architecture, build their own aesthetic, build their own brand. And that is where we invite collaborations, not just domestic, but globally, to folks to come and use Indian technology and build their own brand. That's our core approach to scaling up this unique technology. So, just wanted to note, with the help of NRI team, we've had the opportunity to present it to the team at Honda, and they were very much appreciative of our technology. And we are exploring battery swapping and other collaborations with them as well. And similarly, we have other players that we are working with, both domestic and internationally, especially from Switzerland, UK, and even from South America, country of Colombia. We have partnerships in pipeline. So just wanted to show the different options that are available globally. But of course, all of these are very expensive technologies. So that's what we are trying to solve, making it cost effective. And in this, I would like to take this opportunity to all the incubators and the capital market systems, and both domestic and international, to work in a collaborative way. Let us build the future in a more supportive way. That's about it. I don't want to bore you with much more. Just have a look at our potential technology, so the gradient capability, the off-roading capability. So it's very unique. Thanks for this opportunity, NRI team. Look forward to a brighter future, a sustainable future, a more dignified future.
Thank you very much, Shravan, for making a unique presentation, especially with the kind of unique products which we have developed. And I would like to thank all panelists who are joining today and already made the presentations. Now we are going to transition to the panel discussion, where we intend to explore the opportunities in greater detail, and also we are mainly going to discuss about investment strategies that have worked in India's dynamic startup ecosystem. What are the choices and challenges, and also the emerging sector where India and Japan can jointly create long-term value. So the technologies, the products, and service offerings, we have already heard from all of you, as well as your perspective about India's economy, as well as how India is moving in terms of overall ecosystem when we talk about the startups. So I would like to begin with Tarun. Tarun, during your presentation, you talked about how India is on a sustainable path. When you talk about everybody is now in terms of well-to-do with the financial inclusion, you also talked about your marquee investments. So we are very clear about it. I would like to ask, what are the general investment policies which are being followed by both domestic as well as international VCs when they are investing in Indian startups? And how generally do they compare?
So I'm not sure I understand the question. When you say investment policies of Indian versus overseas VCs, anything in particular you are referring to, Pritesh?
Yeah, when I say that, what are the investment policies followed by both domestic and international VCs, means I would like to understand, is there any difference in terms of their thought process when they make investments in Indian startups? Because the
Yeah.
theme of the webinar today is
Yeah.
has to be.
So I would say what is unique about India today, and apologies, I'll need to run. There is another call that I need to attend to. So I'll drop in 5 minutes, but let me just quickly respond prior to that. So I think the key difference between where India is today in its overall venture life cycle is, I think overall there is a lot of compounding that we can do, right? But there are also a lot of innovation startups. And let me tell you what I mean by that. See, today, if I was a VC in the US, the only opportunities that are available for me to invest are in sort of cutting edge of innovation. I need to find the next hot AI startup. And honestly, nothing else is getting funded. Okay. And that's the reality. There is very little apart from that. And US has seen multiple phases, right? From consumer tech to social media to crypto and now AI. And every time there is this new phase that one needs to invest in. I think India, obviously, those opportunities exist, and there's lots of exciting AI startups, lots of exciting EV startups. But what also is true is that given we are still so early in the build-up of the ecosystem, there are a lot of opportunities when it comes to D2C startups. There are lots of opportunities when it comes to payment startups. There's lots of opportunities when it comes to lending. So what is traditionally seen as boring companies where business models are proven, now you just need to execute, find a different customer segment, find a good value prop for that customer segment, and introduce. Those opportunities are also equally exciting in India. And I think that will continue because India is a very large country, very deep market, multiple customer segments, very vast geography. So just as an example, Five Star was a credit company that we had invested in from our fund too. That company obviously ended up doing really well for us. On a $9 million investment, we netted out about 330 million. So obviously a very big multi-bagger in every way. In our most recent fund, we have invested in 4 such companies. Now, one would have thought that a company that you invested in 10, 12 years ago are similar opportunities available today. Now, the reality is credit in India is still highly underpenetrated. And given we have, such a vast geography with different sort of, cultures and different customer segments, one can actually take another sliver of the market, apply the same core insight, and build another large company. Okay. And so I think that's the unique thing, at least either way I look at it, India versus some of the other countries where, you are always chasing deep tech, AI, innovation in some of the more mature geographies. In India, you can do both today, which is compound on ideas that have worked, but you can find other, customer segments to make them work, while at the same time also chasing innovation.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Tarun. That's all I wanted to hear from you because most of the things were very clear from your presentation. So in case, Tarun, you would like to leave, I think...
Sure, I'll drop off. I don't want to disrupt it. I appreciate it. And again, thank you for having me. I'll just drop off whenever I need to.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on to Pulkit. Pulkit, I would like to take a little bit about the founder's perspective here in terms of what kind of support and mentorship have you received during your journey in India. You started a few years back with putting up some of the swapping stations, but then you got the international investments. So can you please share the positives and the challenging experiences from your journey as of now, and in terms of overall support which you have been receiving from the investors, especially the Japanese ones?
Sure. So I think the kind of support that founders need actually change with every stage of the company. When you start in the early days, you're still finding a product market fit. And I think the biggest support in those times is emotional support rather than anything else. When we started 5 years ago, we were backed by a small seed check from a fund called Rice Ventures. This was a 300,000 investment. For 1.5 years, we operated out of a small shop in West Delhi, 6-member team. This was a swap station and office. We actually did around 100 to 200 swaps a day and used to do it ourselves. And this was also a post-COVID period. We had just started after the lockdowns were lifted, right? So now this was a phase where we were actually we are grateful to our first investor who would stand by us, who would help us iterate and brainstorm on different ideas, how we should price it, what should be our go-to market, what should be our acquisition strategy, because that is a period where you are experimenting a lot at your early stage. Post that, as you start maturing, we had investors like Bloom Ventures and Tiger Global who came in. Now they come in with experience of scaling up quickly, right? And they have seen that across a lot of their portfolio companies. So what we could do with both of them was to lean on their learnings around what are the mistakes that some of the founders make if they scale too fast, how to be more capital efficient while scaling up, how should we think about building the right team members, what are the skills that we should be looking at, right? And how should we as founders upskill ourselves to be able to lead a larger team and larger company. As you mature from that phase and to a more late stage or where I would say you become a company from a startup is when we were fortunate to have investors like MUFG Bank, Leapfrog, Panasonic, etc. come in. Now this is a phase where we are more focused on how to improve and stabilize our margin profiles, how to be profitable, how to look at a long-term view from a capital stack. What are the things that we need to do if we want to list in, say, next 2 to 3 years? What are those steps that we should be taking today? How should we be thinking about the right governance practices at the board level? What committees should we be forming today rather than waiting for us to convert into a public company? So things like that, right? So that completely is a different learning perspective. Now, the good thing is that we have had a diverse set of shareholders, so we could lean on different kinds of expertise as we needed them. But this is something which is common across sectors, across companies. For us, given we are in the mobility and battery space, it was also important for us to have someone like Panasonic, etc., who bring in that kind of battery-related technological depth. Because that is non-existent in India. India as a country is yet to start its first lithium-ion cell manufacturing, right? But Panasonic has been doing that.
Just a follow-up question on that, Pulkit. You talked about, it's a really great to understand about your journey from being a startup to company and then looking to be a public company. I think in this entire process, your company has done a fabulous work in expanding the Indian market. But I'm sure you must be having the ideas as well as intention to go global, right? So in that scenario, can you share some insights from your international partnerships, how you can leverage them and how can take their help, your opinion on?
Sure. So let me start with why we want to do it. There are a couple of geographies which are very India-like, and they will look up to India in terms of what are the solutions that have worked in India. When you look at, say, Africa, especially West Africa, for example, most of it is two-wheeler bikes being used as taxis. So that's the primary mode of commute. As they go electric, they would look at solutions which have worked in India, the products which have worked in India. The same is true for Latin America, same is true for a lot of Southeast Asian countries. These are all high population density pockets. All of them have similar real estate and grid-related challenges. All of them have similar EV aspirations and journeys to do. But India is obviously ahead of them. So they can definitely look up to India in terms of what worked and what did not work. So that makes it an attractive market for us. At the same time, we don't want to spread our resources too thin and be doing too many things at the same time. So what makes sense for us is to package our learnings and our technology product, work with certain local companies and partners there, and help them establish similar solutions in those territories, right? Now, to do that, the best partners would be institutes, corporates, or investors with global presence who can handhold us and them in doing that in different geographies, while we bring in the expertise, someone else does the execution in those territories.
Great. Yeah, I think it sums up about your journey, and it's I think understandable that when companies expand in India, it's really important to tap to the global markets by leveraging the domestic as well as international investments, and identify the countries which are more like India before going massively on other international markets. Thank you very much, Pulkit. Shravan, to you, I would like to understand what was the driving motivation behind your journey, and how has investment played a role, or how are you looking at the potential investments so that you can achieve either your aspirations in Indian market or the global markets? Your opinion on that?
Wonderful. Thanks, Pritesh, and lovely. Everything correlating very much. I resonate with Pulkit's approach, where we want to partner with local folks who can establish a global presence, right? So that's the right way to go about. So coming back to my journey, I was a NRI. I worked in Israel, Malaysia, before coming back to India to pursue my business education with ISB. And as an NRI, like the biggest frustration of a day is the 2-3 hour commute. It's the most irritating, annoying part of our days, right? So, but it feels so frustrating. I was working in a smart city project with Visakhapatnam City Command Center. We were doing a lot of things, integrating a lot of data to analyze and make the city more livable. But it was still not enough, right? So for me, it was still, we are fledging with the peripherals, right? If we need to make a city livable, we cannot do it without fundamentally tackling mobility, right? So it's a very important piece. It's has a huge multiplier. It's an enabler, right? So for social upliftment. So that is what driven me. And couple of instances, like my mother, who is an independent woman for 40 years, a small incident on her scooter, and then she's very much apprehensive about going by herself. Right now, she's completely dependent on someone else. Right, so that is also one of the key motivator for me to drive beyond. I haven't worked on a hardware product ever before. Right, so that's where I took the leap of faith. And coming to the investment ecosystem, right? So there is a lot happening right now. Right, so earlier, bulk of the attention was going to only proven models, right, that are already proven somewhere else, and we are trying to emulate or imitate, right? But now we have come to a point where very targeted, specific problems that are contextual, we are trying to solve, and the investment ecosystem is also quickly adapting to that. Both locally and internationally, but there is still a long way to go, right? Especially when it comes to deep tech solutions, where there is a huge incubation period, right? So it is not straightforward. It takes a longer time to incubate. But once we demonstrate that the technology has different applications, then the growth is exponential, right? So that's where I think the progress is happening pretty good.
Thank you very much, Shravan, for great work which you are doing, and wish you all the best for your future work. Now moving to T-Hub. Sujit, I wanted to ask a very straightforward question to you. You talked a lot about, the kind of benefits which T-Hub is bringing on the table to promote these startups. I wanted to understand, you mentioned about the initiatives through DST and others which are coming through T-Hub. So my question to you is, what policy support is available to help Indian startups expand into the international markets? The other panelists have talked about their aspirations about going global. So I wanted to just understand, what are the policy support which is available to help Indian startups expanding into the international markets very quickly, Sujit?
Yeah, so thanks for that. In fact, I don't know if some of you would be aware that our Prime Minister was in France very recently to sign an agreement in cooperation or collaboration in the space of AI between two countries. right? So the collaboration opportunities exist at that level, meaning that there are various entities, whether it is SISF, BIRAC, Startup India, so or DST, for example, Niti Aayog. Different policies exist across these entities that are actually providing support. While, of course, the whole idea is to provide support for startups that are, engaged in India, making for India. But when there is partnership that is established between both countries, both partner startups, or corporates do get benefited. So, in terms of specific countries, France, Japan, Australia, US, UK, there are collaborations, grants, that are available. In fact, these are grants that are being supported, mutual grant support that is being provided. This is kind of an agreement, between some of these partner countries through which support is being enabled. I did mention about JICA, for example. JICA has actually invested in 2 or 3 states in the country, almost close to 150 to $170 million. Through that loan grant to the states, they are supporting innovation and startups that would have dual purpose, both support Indian ecosystem as well as the Japanese requirements as well. So, sum and substance, Pritesh, is there are multiple dimensions to this through grants, through strategic partnerships, through loan extensions. Even international banks like World Bank, IMF, have collaboration support. Some of them are supporting the entities in Gujarat, for example, right? So these are various ways and means. We can get into details, but at a very broad level, all these exist.
Yeah, the direction is very clear. I think more details we can discuss. All of us who are joining this panel discussion can reach out to Sujit ji for more information and further collaborations. Moving on to Shine, I want to understand, Shaji, from you. We got a very good idea about your work and how you are doing it in India and supporting even the global expansions of some of the startups. A very important question to understand is, what is the success and failure rate at the incubation stage? So what differentiates successful startups from those that fail at the incubation stage? And what is the typical success rate of startups incubated at Shine very quickly?
Yeah, that's nice, Pritesh. As I mentioned in the presentation, we have supported 250 plus startups till date. The failure is only 20%. 80% of our startups who have graduated post our incubation continue to operate, though some of them may not have really scaled up, but then we have large successes like IdeaForce, Edimax kind of thing. One of the reasons what we have noticed over a period of time, the reasons for failure rate is largely maybe 2 or 3 primary reasons. One is at times the product doesn't meet the market requirement, or there is no market for a particular product developed by the innovators. They believe that there is a demand for such a product. Maybe it's too small, or maybe accessing that market itself is not really worth pursuing further. So that's one of the reasons. The second is obviously market may not be really prepared for such a venture. Third is most likely is the right amount of funding. What we have seen is that startups do struggle to raise funding at appropriate time. When I say appropriate time, if there is a potential a client and they need to do a pilot and you need to do a lot of iteration as part of the pilot, and if you are not you don't have access to the right amount of capital and not able to demonstrate it to your potential your customer, then it's a lost opportunity, and lost opportunity becomes very, very detrimental to startups who survive on a day-to-day basis. So running out of the cash is like third major reason. Fourth is maybe the team is not really gelling together. We have seen at times that the teams
Yes,
fall
Rajiv,
apart?
these points are really interesting and notable. And I was impressed to note that 80% is the number wherein the startups move on the next stage. Thank you very much for your opinion. And thank you very much, all of you, for your thoughts. With that, we conclude this enriching panel discussion. To formally conclude today's session, I would like to invite Mr. Dheeraj Bharadwaj, who is representative NEDO India, to share the closing remarks. Over to you, Dheeraj-san.
Thank you, Pritish. Distinguished speakers, delegates, ladies and gentlemen, namaskar and konnichiwa. I am Dheeraj Bharadwaj from NEDO, New Delhi office. We are coming close to the conclusion of this webinar on India's startup ecosystem, origin, growth, and global investment influence. Thank you for your patient hearing. We had the presentation from venture capitals, founders, incubators, and policymakers in today's webinar, and had a fruitful discussion on relevant issues and questions on investment, support, and mentoring at incubation level and success stories of Indian startups, including their international aspirations. I take this opportunity to thank our eminent panelists for their enriching interventions, namely Mr. Tarun Davda, MD, Z47, Mr. Sujit Zagitar, CEO T-Hub, Mr. Shaji Varghese, CEO Sign IIT Bombay, Mr. Pulkit Khurana, co-founder Battery Smart, and Mr. Shravan Aparna, CEO iGo. Thank you all for your valuable suggestions and inputs. I also thank Nomura Research India team led by Mr. Vineet Jain, Pritish Singh, and Mr. Tarun Kaushik for the background research and supporting us in organizing this webinar. I also thank our delegates and participants from both India and Japan for taking out the time and to join us today. I thank our technical teams supported by Prateek, Vicky from Country Events. And with these words, I would like to close the webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So before we drop out, I would request everyone to kindly put on your video so that we can take a quick picture of the panelists. Vivek, please put the gallery mode on and click a quick picture.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Please prompt here once done.
Yeah, it's done, sir.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.